Here. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this. So today we're talking about how to dominate the divorce market in your community. I'm going to actually be bringing this to life a little bit since we started this mastermind group 2 days ago. Had our first meeting. Looking for a few more people to join that are interested in achieving this goal, and I've already got some minor successes that came out of the first meeting. I'll be talking about those in this call. Before I do, let me just, before I do, if you don't know me, Scott Hamilton, I'm a coach for Pareto Systems. Pareto is probably one of the leading coaching organizations for in the financial advisor space. We've been coaching for 20 years. I've been a Pareto coach for 10 years. Have a lot of clients in all sorts of different organizations, the big wirehouses. I've got a lot of independent clients. We cover everything in between. Before that, I was a lawyer. Actually, before that, I was in insurance sales. I basically sold life insurance to rich people all over the country. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But also, I was an attorney before that for about 20 years. And actually, I started out my career working in a firm that did divorce work on the legal side. It wasn't for me, so I ended up branching out into a different area, but definitely was in it for a few years and feel like I understand a lot about it. I'm sure things have changed that you guys can teach me about, but yeah, I think the basic concepts are still the same. And so I can bring at least that perspective to the mastermind group as we go. A little bit about what I see as the opportunity. I think this is a huge opportunity. I'm sure some of you on the call agree. Some of the statistics are just amazing. And one of the things that I find interesting is that there's not a lot of advisors who are what I would consider dominating the market. I've talked to a lot of CDFAs over the years, and they're getting divorce business, but it's not at kind of the scale that they're looking for. And a lot of it, not that this is bad, but a lot of it tended to be fee-based business when a lot of the advisors I've talked to are really looking for AUM business. They're really looking for planning business. So I think there's, continues to be a huge opportunity. I talk to people in different markets, and I think there continue to be some challenges also, which I think we'll talk about. But the fact that there's a lot of blue ocean, there's a lot of opportunity for growth here is leads me to think that this niche is really fantastic opportunity. You've got the gray divorce boom. I wrote a white paper on this a couple of months ago. If anybody wants it, let me know. But again, fantastic opportunity for financial advisors here as well. Okay. The opportunity is one thing, but what I see in this area, again, talking with CDFAs, even clients, I've got one-on-one coaching clients who are in the divorce niche, um, who have struggled with the problems I've listed here. But let me just talk about them briefly. No clear growth strategy. So we're not, you know, one of the women that I've worked with in this area, is kind of doing whatever works at the moment, not really dedicating time to the niche, and as a result, feels very fragmented. Just does not feel like she's pointed in one direction that's leading to success. Generic marketing also comes out of that same problem. Um, some of the CDFAs that I know are that I know and I've talked to CDFAs, sorry, that I know and talk to, I go and look at their LinkedIn marketing, and it has nothing to do with divorce. It has to do with all sorts of commentary about markets really not speaking to the intended audience. Same thing with websites. They can be, they tend to be trying to catch everybody instead of targeted for the person that they really want to work with. So, generic marketing, clear problem, uh, capacity and systems issues. Um, One of the guys that I work with in this area one-on-one, who has built a fantastic process-based business. Um, he only does the one thing in this business that he really likes, which is building relationships with strategic partners. He's built processes in his office so that he rarely has to have any client meetings. He rarely does any kind of investment decisions or financial plans. And you may be listening to this and saying, "Hey, I love doing that part of the business." Okay, do it. That's not the point. The point is he wanted to build a business that allowed him to do what he wanted to do in the business. And all I'm saying is if you are able to point yourself in this direction, then you're also able to build systems and processes that serve you. So it's a little bit of a funny story, but this guy said, "Hey, I just got contacted by somebody who's selling his business. Should I take the case?" And I said to him, "Are you competent to work with this guy?" And he says, "Well, yeah, I have a designation for it." I said, "Well, what's it going to do to your systems and processes? Is there anybody in your office who can work on this?" He's like, "No, not really." So that means you have to do it. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you want to do it or do you want to keep doing what you love doing?" And so he actually referred the person to another financial advisor who's very capable and had processes to serve that guy. And so, awesome, fantastic. Didn't interrupt what my guy was doing, what he was building, and he was able to continue to do the kind of things he wants. The last thing is this idea of imposter syndrome, which I think we all face at some level. There's always somebody better than us. There's always somebody further along the line than us. Um, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you're good at what you do, that's all that counts. If you're dedicated to getting better, there's always going to be somebody in front of you. When I used to work in the high net worth market, one of my largest clients was a billionaire, more than a billionaire. But he was always looking at the people who were at 2 billion or 3 billion or 5 billion, and he wanted to know what they were doing. There's always somebody in front of you, so don't worry about imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not perfect yet, guess what? Nobody's perfect. And so you jump in, you get better and better. One of the things that focusing on this niche will do for you is allow you to get better faster. Okay, so this is real results. This is actually not Sally. It was really a guy, but I changed the name just to protect the person. Same sort of idea. They started out with an idea that they wanted to be in the divorce niche, but they had a very generic brand, didn't stand out. Pretty much, if you looked at any financial advisor's website in the United States, it would look familiar to what this guy had. He had no real processes to show prospective clients, to show strategic partners, and he was not really getting that many good referrals. He was getting some. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had divorce clients. He knew he liked working in this market, but he wasn't really getting a steady stream. And this is probably 2.5, 3 years later. As the same guy I described before, his systems and processes are amazing to the point where he's hiring people to come in, run them for him, and does what he wants to do in the business as opposed to having to do everything. His marketing materials are very sharp, very clear. And when you look at his website now, it's absolutely clear what he does and who he does it for. Um, so again, it makes your marketing, in this case, much easier, much more efficient, which means less expensive. And he's running a really, really good business. He's on track to build what he wants, what he calls a self-managing business. In another couple of years, he wants to have that business run without him. And I think it's totally doable. He's now getting at least two or three new ideal clients every month. He's $2 million minimum in terms of what the client will get at the settlement, at the end of the settlement. So That's another strategic decision that he made. He could help more people, but he wants to make sure that he stays profitable. He wants to make sure that the people that he takes on are great clients, have great attitudes, and are willing to refer friends of theirs if they happen to be going through a divorce. So this is basically given him predictable revenue growth and a really, really good, successful practice. All right, I want to talk about some things that you can take away here. Um, I think about these things. So in a mastermind group, we have a kind of very structured process for how we run this, um, which I will talk about in a minute. But before we get there, let's talk about some things that if I were wanting to dominate the divorce niche, these are some things I would definitely say these are things I need to accomplish over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it takes you. Um, First of all, define your ideal client. Okay, this is something that if you've ever been in contact with Pareto systems, this is like a minimal requirement for Pareto systems is to help you define your ideal client so that you know who you serve and who you don't. In the divorce area, obviously, you want to work with divorcing people. Some people want to work with divorcing women, some with men, some try and do both. To me, if you're really going to get into the niche and be successful, I think the big opportunity, frankly, is with divorcing women. In my experience, the men going through a divorce a lot of times already have an advisor, and they're going to keep that advisor. And again, I'm not being sexist here. I'm just being a realist here. A lot of the women don't have an advisor contact and need one. They need one right at the beginning to help walk them through the whole process, to help make them understand things. One of the things I've noticed about successful advisors is they have the real ability to take complex stuff and make it really simple. So if you're listening and you're thinking, I have the ability to do that, that's perfect, right? Because the attorneys, me included, we're talking settlement, we're talking tax, we're talking, all technical things. Somebody needs to help the clients understand what's really going on. And so again, if you're interested in working with divorcing women, to me, that's the real opportunity. That's what I would do. I wouldn't take any men. I would just take women. Think about what the demographic looks like. Who do you want? Do you want to take women who are likely to get a 500,000? Are you in some big metropolis where you want to work with people who are more high net worth, fewer clients? All of that is doable, but it really takes, first of all, defining who your ideal client is. So obviously, that's one of the things we work on in the mastermind to get crystal clear on that. Systems. Um, once you sort of put your stake in the ground here, um, then all of a sudden it becomes pretty easy to build repeatable processes and systems that allow you to deliver really a high level, consistent result every single time. I mean, we're in the people business, so I'm not kidding myself that everything's perfect. Um, and you're in the people business of people getting divorced, which is highly emotional, um, business to be in. And so, things are going to be messy. But the last thing you want to be messy is your processes. Those should be, able to be delivered consistently over and over and over again. And if you carve out this niche, you can do that. If you try and work in 3, 4, 5 different niches, I see people try and do that, different systems, different processes, really hard to be effective doing that. Next thing is to create a client fit process. Um, a lot of the people I coach say, how do I get a practice full of ideal clients? And the answer I always give them is the same. Don't take non-ideal clients. Make sure you know when you're taking somebody on that they're a great fit for you. They're somebody that you want in your life for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And if you do that, then you will end up with a practice that is filled up with people that you just love working with. And again, being in this niche allows you to target those people very easily. Okay, market with clarity. Same thing, right? Once you decide who your ideal client is, once you have your process, then you can create your marketing message that says, this is who I help. I only help these people. If you're somebody else, I might talk to you, but I can't help you, right? I might have a referral for you that can help you. Like maybe you have a relationship with another advisor who works with clients that have $1 million or less. Okay, great. You can refer those people over there. Everybody's happy. But, again, you're marketing for your specific ideal client. And then lastly, building strategic partnerships. So there's no secret on this one, right? Um, there is a certain group of people who are influential in this area and are capable of sending a steady stream of business to good advisors who work in this space. Okay. So here's one of the things I'm just going to diverge and talk about the power of the mastermind group that I'm putting together here is accountability. It's like everybody knows that you should be talking to divorce lawyers, mediators, other professionals, other people who are able to be influencers in this area. But we're all busy people. Like I'm pretty sure everybody on this call is busy and you're being torn or pulled in different directions, right? You know what you should do, um, but it's hard to get yourself to hold yourself accountable. Some people do it. If you're one of those who do, that's fantastic. But what I see in the mastermind groups is the members hold each other accountable. If you say you're going to go talk to and have coffee with 4 divorce lawyers over the next 4 weeks before the next meeting, then you better do it because otherwise you're going to show up to the meeting, or maybe you'll be afraid to show up to the meeting. I don't know, but you're going to show up and say, "Hey, I didn't do it." And all I can tell you is my experience in these mastermind groups is people are showing up, they're doing what they said they're going to do, and they're doing the things that are really, really starting to yield huge results in their businesses. So you think about building strategic partners, it's easy to say, it's hard to do, and having the support of a group of people who are going through the same kind of thing, helping you to understand that those people need you, reminding you that you're good at what you do, and just encouraging you to get out there and build relationships. That the power of that alone is one of the things I would say is just you don't get that unless you're in a collaborative group. Okay, when you're defining your ideal client, we've talked about this. Let's see if I really want to talk any more about this. Uh, no, I don't think I do. If anybody has any questions about it, you can ask me later on. Um, okay, and I've talked about this too in some ways, right? When you're in a mastermind group, there's peer sharing, there's information that's coming in. Sometimes it's coming in from me, sometimes it's coming in from Pareto Systems tailored to this niche. Sometimes it's coming in from the other people, your peers in the group. Um, but again, the information in and of itself, it's like reading a good sales book, but then not doing anything that you read. You have the information, but action is what counts. So accountability in a mastermind group, it's really, I don't want to say it's the most important thing, but I'd say it's one of the top 2 things, right? Is making sure that you do what you say you're going to do, because that's the only way you're going to get where you want to go. Peer community, like we talked about this already. One of the mastermind groups I run is in the M&A space. This is advisors who are trying to buy practices from advisors who want to get out of the business, or they're trying to build larger practices by bringing tuck-in advisors or associate advisors, however you want to think about it. 9 months ago in that group, 10 or 11 people came into it with really no pipeline, really no sales opportunities. And 9 months later, one of the guys in the group has, I think, already closed 5 deals. Another one has over $1 billion in his pipeline. I don't think he's closed any deals yet. But again, what they've done is they come in, they share with each other what they're doing, they share ideas, and it'll be the same in the divorce group. And again, I've seen them rocket. I assume the same thing's going to happen here, and that's exactly what I want. And then finally, systems and templates. Okay. Pareto has a whole library that you get access to of videos and processes and templates and scripts and so forth. They're not targeted at the divorce market, but because I've used them with other people in divorce, I actually have already modified a lot of these things for the divorce niche. But regardless, you have access to all the things that are in there. And uh, Pareto charges basically the same amount as we're charging for the mastermind to get access to those things. So if that's all you get, it's a good deal. But I'm telling you, these other two things are going to be, they're going to be like rocket fuel for members of the group. Okay, what is the group? What do we do there? Okay, this is um, a group of advisors who are all focused in on being really successful in the divorce niche, whatever that means to them. It's obviously could mean different things to different people. We have regular meetings, so we have a once every, I call it once a month, but it's actually every 4 weeks for about an hour to 90 minutes. And we have a structure to that meeting where we talk about what people accomplished over the last 4 weeks. What do they want to accomplish over the next 4 weeks? We typically have a subject matter session that we talk about, and then there's an open discussion. And all of them are valuable. Feedback I get is the open discussion is one of the best things. But that's what goes on in a meeting. We also have a private group chat, so people can send questions or comments in on the WhatsApp app, and either I can answer them or somebody else tries to answer them. But if you've got like kind of an immediate question you want to answer, that's maybe a good way to do it. Like I said, you get the Pareto systems included in the in the monthly cost to join the mastermind. And we're working basically on these areas like marketing, bringing in business, doing the business, making sure that your processes are optimal and that you continue to refine them to get them better and better so that you scale your business. And again, if you're going for self-managing business, that's fantastic. If you're going for just, I want to be known in my community as the person that successful divorcing women are coming to, um, then that's what we're about. Okay. Um, okay. Is it right for you? So if you have a CDFA certification, that's awesome. That's certainly going to be very helpful to you because it's a great foundation. But I've coached one-on-one people who don't have that certification, and there's no requirement that you have it. The real requirement is you want to be the person that people call when they're going through a divorce. If you already have great client flow in the divorce area, probably not necessary to join this group. Although um, even if you do have great client flow already, um, my question would be is there a way to increase the flow or increase the level of client that you're taking in? And in most cases, I would say that there is, probably not all cases, but in many cases, I think there is. Um, if you're tired of paying money for marketing for FMG or whatever that's just sending out like Easter Bunny stuff or market commentary that's not really doing anything for you, then this could be something of interest. There are a couple people on the call who do marketing for me, and they do marketing for some of the other clients of mine that I do one-on-one coaching for, including one person in the divorce niche, at least one. They'll be on some of these calls talking about what you need to do to target your marketing. And if you're interested, they're also available to take you on as a client. So they've already done a lot of this, development, so they can be very efficient with their time. And if you really want to scale, again, I think the mastermind could be right for you. And by scale, what I mean is building a real business, not just building nothing wrong with this, but not just one advisor doing divorce planning. Okay, so that's okay too. I have nothing against that, but a lot of people in this group are trying to really scale and figure out how to build a practice that generates a lot of income and a lot of profit. Okay, what do we charge? $650 a month. I'm doing early bird special, I think until our next meeting, which would be roughly 4 weeks from now. So I'd like to get more people into this mastermind group. I'd like to get a couple more people. I don't need a ton, but I'd like to get a couple more just so that the synergies, the information that people bring, the peer support is stronger. So I'll do that. I'm going to run this for another 4 weeks. If you come in after that, that would be great. Then we'll just revert to the higher price. Just by cost of comparison, like everybody probably knows this on the call, but coaches at Pareto typically are charging between $1,500 and $2,500. My minimum is 1750 for a solo advisor. So you can see if you want to get me one-on-one, I'm happy to do it, but it's way more effective to do it this way. And I actually think in some ways, when you're working in this kind of a peer community, um, you'll see faster results. Okay, everybody knows how much you make off a client, right? So you think about how long it would take me to, how many clients it would take me to pay this back. We're in one of these businesses where our work is very profitable. So it doesn't take too much success to pay for a mastermind group. And then lastly, people ask me about geographic exclusivity. In fact, I just got off a call with somebody who wants to join another mastermind group I'm running. He said, "What about this?" And before the words finished his mouth, he said, "A lot of advisors are going national. They're on Zoom, so maybe that's not so important." But I will tell you this. I do look for geographic diversity. I can't give exclusivity, but what I do is if I see two people who might be in an overlapping market, we'll have a conversation before we take anybody in the group. And just make sure everybody's okay with the fact that they're close. This happened in the M&A group. I had two advisors in California, both kind of Southern California. But after we talked it out, it turns out they're in two different wirehouses. They have two different strategies about who they're approaching and why. And they would probably never run into each other in a million years. So it didn't really matter to them. But again, if that's something of interest to you, it's something we'll definitely look out for and definitely something that we would talk through. Okay, couple of endorsements from people. These are real people. We also have a bunch of endorsements on the website, ParetoMastermind.com. Like I said, I've been coaching advisors for 10 years. Uh, I don't know if I've heard everything, but I've heard a lot over the years. And the good thing is I can bring that to this group and do bring that to this group. I've added one new endorsement. This is from Mike. He's in the group. And he called me afterwards and he said, I've already received in the first meeting multiple good ideas from this group. Um, and he has. He's already going to implement. Um, one of the other people said, "Hey, Mike, you should because you went to law school and you were even an attorney for a while. You can join the bar association," which he already was in. He said, "But you can run for the head of the section. Not everybody can do that." But he's like, "I never thought of that." And then he came up with another a thought. Do you think I could just have a happy hour for the section? That's more my style. So again, an idea that was he never would have thought of came out of this group uh, just in the very first meeting. Okay, what to do next? Schedule a call if you want to schedule a call. I'm going to put this, if I can figure out how to do this, put this um, Calendly invite into the chat box here in a minute. And if you want to schedule a 30-minute call and ask, if you have questions you want to ask them in private, go ahead. I'm happy to talk to you, answer any questions about things that I didn't cover today or we don't cover in the Q&A. So let me just see if I can. No, I can't really copy that. Okay, but I will in just a minute. Okay, some questions and answers. I'm going to let's see, how do I do this? Stop sharing, come back here. Okay. Um, just going to stop. I know I've been talking nonstop for 40 minutes here, 30 minutes. What about questions from people? Does anybody have any questions? You should be able to unmute. If you can't unmute, maybe you can use the raise your hand thing. Seth, are you on? Can you unmute?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I guess, okay, if you can do it, everybody can. Anybody have any questions? Okay, well, I'm waiting. What's the time commitment? Yeah. So this is your business, and I want you to be successful. I want you to kill it. I'm, about as transparent as I can be. In my experience, the more time you put into it, the better and quicker the results. So time commitment for me, an hour to an hour and a half every 4 weeks. But like I said, if you leave and you commit to making three or four calls and setting up coffees with attorneys or other potential influencers in this space, right? That's going to take time. I have some strategies for you on how to make that the most efficient, but the more time you put in, the better. Um, I often recommend that if people spend 30 to 60 minutes a day to build their business, that's going to yield great results. If you do more, even better. Okay, will it fit your practice? Yeah, if you're in the divorce space and you want to grow and you want to dominate and you want to be the person people know, this will fit your practice. One-on-one coaching. I've talked about that. If you'd prefer one-on-one coaching, it's totally fine. Just let me know and I can put you in touch with the folks at Pareto who arrange that. And uh, yeah, no problem. Love one-on-one coaching. Can I do this myself? That's a question I get all the time, and the answer is yes. You can absolutely do this yourself. You can get if you want to get Pareto's information or access to Pareto's systems and processes and templates, you absolutely can. I think it's the same price as what I'm charging, but if you want to go that way, you absolutely can. And then, what I would just do is ask myself, am I the type of a person who's really, really accountable to the things I say? And there's a lot of people who are. Like, you don't get to be a successful financial advisor without being accountable. So I don't discount that at all. If you'd prefer to do it by yourself, I think you'll do it more quickly if you're in the group, though. And really, to me, the idea here is how fast can I get where I want to go? How quickly will I attract clients is another question I get. Okay, this is again, how much time are we putting into it? I don't want to trot out an old cliche, but my grandfather told me when I flunked out of college the first time, well, I only flunked out one time, but when I flunked out of college, he told me, you get out of life what you put into it. And I've kind of lived by that since then. And so the more you put into this, the faster you'll see clients. Um, could it be in a month? Could it be 3 months, 6 months? Absolutely. I mean, this guy that I've been working with now for 3 years or so, he has like a Swiss watch business that anybody I think would want. Um, it took him time. It took him all of 3 years or 2.5 years to get it there. But he started driving clients, I would say, in the first couple of months. Again, I can't promise that. He was extremely dedicated and works really hard, still works really hard at it. But again, he's built and is building what he wants. Um, okay. One other question that comes up in the niche area that I think is important to talk about, which is, will I lose other referrals? In other words, other business. And I talked about this earlier. Um, my experience is you won't lose other referrals. Um, but really the issue is do you want to take other clients? I mean, if you have a business that's humming, doing divorce work, um, if you take somebody who's got kind of a thorny employee benefits issue or selling a business or, doing something else that's really not your expertise, do you really want to take that person? It's going to be disruptive. So I usually tell people, go ahead and take them if you want to, but if you think it's easy and can fit into your process. But otherwise, if it were me, I wouldn't encourage those referrals at all. I would think about it as a client who's not a good fit for what I do. So, Seth, you're in an interesting position because you're a financial advisor. You've worked with me as a coach in Pareto, and you also now run a marketing company, and you in fact do my marketing. Um, I know you're in a niche yourself. Do you want to talk about the power of being in a niche for just a second? Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with a lot of people in the pharmaceutical industry. It just happened to be that way. And I looked down and all of a sudden, when I looked at my top tier clients, probably about 50% of them were in that industry. So I made the conscious effort to start concentrating on that. I changed my marketing so that it appeals to the pains that they deal with and the problems that they have that are unique to them, and everything. And it's paid off a lot. Now, we kind of have a turnkey situation. I get one or two referrals a month in that industry, and they're the people that I love working with. So it feels like so much more fun to go to work every day because you're cloning your top clients. And then just on the divorce side of the thing, so I want to just give this as an example. I just did a video myself for divorce the other day, right? And it was
We're gonna have to get you in the group, Seth.
so I just did this video the other day, and it was just like it was just talking about how we help support people in that situation. Like, are you going to be okay afterwards? Like, map out your money, and it was like a 30-second thing. Don't you know the next day, one of my pharmaceutical clients referred her friend that is going through a divorce, right? And just like that, in one day, you can get that stuff. And that's the power of like, rather than, oh, we help people financial planning and like, no matter what situation you got and everything like that, like you specifically put it out there like that, and then you specifically get those things back.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, I keep seeing it over and over again. It's the power of being focused. Um, you know, what about the fear of missing out, though? What about that? Like, I mean, if you're focused, do you worry about missing out on, oh man, somebody's gonna not call me for $100 million sale of their business or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fear of missing out is replaced by the consistent flow of good clients. I could care less if I miss out on something. I don't care.
Well, we're missing out on things all day long.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I should have played in the NBA and dunked last night. Yeah.
well, good. Well, thanks, Seth. So I don't really have much else to say. I put the link to the Calendly link. If some of you are in organizations where you can't use Calendly, I run into this every day. Feel free to, I mean, what people do is they just send it to their personal phone or their personal iPad and do it that way. But if that doesn't work, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to do it the old-fashioned way of trading dates and times. We can figure that out. Um,
Can I say one last thing, please?
yeah.
Real quick. Is that the biggest thing with Scott and with Pareto and with Mastermind is that if you want to actually grow in the next 12 months, like by something that's like not traditionally something that you do, all you have to do is sign up and show up once a month, and then your ego will make you do the work in the middle. You know what I mean? But you just have to show up and do it, and you're going to be guaranteed you'll get more referrals from divorce if you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it over and over, so I know it's totally possible. I know it's totally doable. You just have to want it. Okay. I don't really have any other content to add. If anybody has questions, I'll just hang here for a minute. You can unmute yourself. You can even come on video like Seth did, and if you want, and ask any questions. So I'm just going to stay quiet for 30 seconds, and if we don't have questions, I'll turn everybody loose. Uh, just in case anybody leaves ahead of time, thank you very much for coming on. If there's anything I can ever do for you, let me know. If you don't join the group, that's fine. If I can help in some other way, shoot me an email, and if I can help, I will. Okay. Thanks everybody for being on. Seth, thank you for coming on. Appreciate that. And
Yeah.
hope everybody has a great day. Let me know if you're interested. So long.